Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unleash Your Pleasure show. I'm so excited to put this on for you and have you see these incredible interviews that are all lined up for this week. My name is Sydney. I'm the host. It's so lovely to start the show off with the wonderful Dr. Willow Brown. Hi, Willow.
Hi, Sydney. So grateful to be here with you. I'm excited for your summit and everything that you're pulling together. It's so powerful.
Thank you. Me too. It's going to be an awesome week. I can't wait for everyone to see the incredible interviews that are today and coming up. So thank you so much for being a part of it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in and read your quick bio, and then we'll jump into questions, which I'm so excited about.
Yes.
So Willow is a sexologist, endocrinologist, Chinese medicine doctor, and an internationally recognized teacher of Taoist sexology. Her offerings wow, I can't talk today. Her offerings provide profound understanding of what it means to engage in sacred sexuality and live a sensual life. Her online programs and private practice focus on women's health, endocrine function, and sexuality. Willow guides women from low libido, emotional disharmony, menstrual disorders, menopause, infertility, and postpartum depression to return to their innate equanimity so they can create sustainable balance in their lives, feel in control of their emotions, and raise their sensual frequencies for greater magnetism and increased orgasmic potential.
Hell yeah, baby. We want all that shit.
We so do. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and our bodies are really made for all of that, so it's like when I start to get into these conversations with women who are like, oh, my sexuality has been really dormant for most of my life, or I don't really have a libido, or I don't really, it's just like, nah, just kind of sweep it under the rug. I'm like, oh my God, but you have this body, like you have this vessel, and it really doesn't matter what's going on with your body. I work with women with chronic illness. I work with women who are overweight. I work with women who are underweight. I work with women of all different sizes and ages and shapes and types and everything. And it's like, well, you still have a clitoris. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your pleasure center.
Yeah, and that's like the ultimate pleasure button that we women or vulva owners all have access to. It's a beautiful gift. So.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love everything you do. And I just want to jump in and ask you all the questions, but I'd love for you to start us off and just what is sacred sexuality?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think sacred sexuality is, this word sacred is getting used so much, it's kind of losing its sacredness, kind of like the word abundance, but it still does mean that you're holding a container for something bigger to come through, for source energy to come through, for spiritual alignment to take place. So sacred sexuality is any sexual encounter where there's a deeper, more spiritual connection being made, whether it's between you and another human being, or you and spirit, or you and a tree, or you and a rock. It doesn't matter. You and yourself, it's about creating a more of a field, tuning into the field, the oneness that brings so much medicine through for our psyches and for our soul and for our spirits. And so engaging in a self-pleasure practice or a self-love practice with candles and music, and really, like, instead of just like rubbing one out, having a quickie and going to sleep. I mean, that has value too, there's nothing wrong with that, but it gives more opportunity for you to get some ahas, to become more enlightened in your view of yourself, of your mind patterns, of how you view the world. So
amazing. So it sounds like sacred sexuality is really all about connection on all levels, and like you said, not just about like physical pleasure and orgasm.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's, different sects of sacred sexuality. Tantra is probably the most prominent and well known. And then within Tantra, there's a couple of different legs. There's white Tantra, which is more of a practice with self or with nature. And then there's red Tantra, which is a practice with other. So with another. So, so that's a beautiful dance, a beautiful lineage, comes from, ancient India. And then we've got the Taoist tradition, which is primarily what I teach. I teach a little Tantra as well, but I teach a lot through the Taoist sexology lens. I, call myself a sexologist and an endocrinologist. And so the endocrine system is the hormonal system that is sort of the other side of what I think of as sexology. So let's rewind a little bit. Sexology is the study of or the observation of your own sexual energy. So any ology, biology, psychology, sociology, right? We're studying, we're observing, we're becoming scientists of these things. And so becoming an observer of your own sexual energy is, I believe, one of the most powerful things you can do in this lifetime, because it is the most potent creative life force energy that you have access to. It creates a whole new human being. It creates a whole new life. So it's G. And when you become a sexologist, you're looking at your two legs to that realm. You're looking at your ability to have orgasms, have healthy relationships, have sex, ask for what you want, know what you want. There's a whole slew of things. Be able to become multi-orgasmic, maybe be able to become someone who has Amrita, which is the female ejaculation. All of these sort of different layers and levels of what we think of as sexuality. And then, of course, we've got the sexual blueprint. That's always fun to explore as well. And then, and the other side of sexology is looking at your endocrine system. So how well are you sleeping? What about your menstrual cycles? Are you going through perimenopause? Have you gone through menopause? Are you having symptoms? What's going on with your endocrine system? Is your adrenals taxed and depleted? Your adrenals are the foundation of your endocrine. So there's these two sides of sexology, is the way that I see it. And when you start to weave them together and really use your adrenal chi for heightened orgasms, boom. I mean, then you're having a good time. Then you're really enjoying your body, and you're in that you have then become what I deem as a sexologist of your own body, right? Of your own self. You're stepping into that sovereignty of sacred sexual union with the energy that's already running through your body anyway. So every time we have an orgasm, cortisol gets flushed out of the bloodstream. Cortisol is that stress hormone that makes us feel like this, and so that gets flushed out, and oxytocin gets flooded through, right? And that's a hormone too, another sex hormone. And oxytocin is that hormone that makes us want to connect and cuddle and love. And it's, it's the love hormone, it's the connection one. So, sex is really a medicinal thing. And that's one of the things that I would say, the Taoist tradition sort of differs from the Tantra tradition, is we're really using it to heal the body in a lot of ways. How can we really heal the liver? How can we heal the heart, the lungs, all these different places and organ systems in your body with sexual chi, since it is so potent. And I've got a book coming out called Sex as Medicine. So y'all are going to want to read that once it comes out.
Yes, put me on the list.
Because I really believe it is medicine for the body. And then there's some other sects out there which are a little bit less known and more obscure, which is one of the ones I really love to play with is the Egyptian sexual alchemy, which is where you can really start to have this interaction on a more energetic level, and play with these Ida and Pingala, these different pathways in the body, and the Sushumna Nadi. And anyway, you can have incredible sexual experiences with someone who's on the other side of the world using that medicine. So there's just a lot to play with. And I think when there's intention involved, it becomes sacred.
Oh yeah, that's so beautiful. And I'm just really curious. I have a burning question for you because you mentioned at the beginning, at first you come in contact with a lot of women who are not even feeling anything close to what you just described, or they're having like trouble with like arousal or libido. Like, how does someone get from that into like experiencing literally what you just described, which sounds amazing, and I want that for everybody.
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, having worked with human beings for so many years, for probably like 3 decades now, I have to meet them where they're at. So someone comes to me for acupuncture or for treatment or something, they're like, yeah, I eat McDonald's 4 times a week and I drink a pot of coffee a day. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to tell them to do a liver cleanse, right? That would not be meeting them where they're at all. I'm going to be like, okay, let's take it down to half a pot of coffee and we're just going to do McDonald's once a week, So you really got to meet people where they're at or they won't be able to follow you. So it just depends. When a woman comes to me, I'm assessing where she's at with how long has she been sweeping her sexuality under the rug? Has it been that way her whole life? Why is she doing that? Does it have to do with her upbringing? Is there a religious component? And then I'm assessing how ready is she to change that pattern? Is she at a, I'm giving it numerical, like, is she at a 10 or is she at a 5, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to pour too much of my time and energy into someone who just is a 5, but I will ask, what is it going to take for you to get up to a 10? What do you need in your life? And a lot of times what they need is time and space. Time and space. So that's what most people, and especially I would say the female race, the female sex, they just get overwhelmed really easily with all the to-dos and all the stressors and the finances and the bills and the kids and the this and the that and the that and the that. And so we need to like start to deconstruct all that overwhelm and start to put it into a different perspective and start to change the way that we are moving through our day-to-day to-do list so that we can actually experience pleasure inside of that. Because it's about creating enough spaciousness in your body and in your life that you can actually drop into the field that I was talking about earlier, the field, which is this field of joy and pleasure and bliss. And so many of us just don't know how to tune into that, right? So it's just like it takes practice and skill and learning how to do it and then doing it regularly, consistently. And there are little tricks and ways to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, I know for myself, I get caught up in that, like being a single woman, I'm like, I gotta do all the things, be independent, take care of myself, but it's not necessarily creating that room for pleasure and joy because I'm tired from all the doing. And I'm sure maybe some of the listeners can relate as well. So I'm curious, Willow, like, how does one start to create space in their life for that? Because ultimately, if we don't take care and nourish ourselves in that way, we're gonna just burn out.
Absolutely. One of the things that I'm always kind of directing people toward is like, what's your love task? Love task is something that you love to do. You're not trying to get better at it. When you're doing it, you're not doing it so that somebody else loves you for it. And when you're doing your love task, you are 100% do it. Like, you're not thinking about tomorrow. You're not thinking about today. It's just, you love doing it. Feels good to you. Maybe it's painting, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's gardening, maybe it's flossing your teeth. I mean, it could be anything, taking a shower. Like, what feels good to you when you're doing it? You're not trying to like become more or better at it. You just love to do it. And then making sure that you get that love task in on a really consistent basis, whether it's daily or weekly. just make sure it's consistent so that you're dropping into the thing that's already brings you pleasure. You're not having to look for something new or try new things on, just look for that one thing that brings you a lot of pleasure and
Mhm.
do it
Mhm.
and make a practice of it. And then as you're doing it, put that intention into it. Like, okay, I'm going to start gardening. My intention is to be super present with the soil, feel the sensation,
Mhm.
be in my breath, be in my body, tune into that field of bliss and
Mhm.
that field of abundance, and just let my nervous system become one with that field.
Beautiful. Yeah. Because a big part of your work and how you engage with your clients is like creating a sensual life, which doesn't have to be about sexual pleasure. It's like sensuality, and like that can be just as nourishing too, and which you can also bring that into your sexual experiences. So, so,
Ab-
so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And like, how does that sort of increase pleasure, whether you're in partnership or engaging with others in that way?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I really see like the sacred sexual piece has to get set up inside of you as an individual first.
Mm.
And then you can share it with others. And when you have built up this place of deep, deep trust inside of yourself, you can then turn around and trust almost anyone, because you know how to navigate this sense of presence and of like, I know how vulnerable I can be with that person versus how vulnerable and truthful and honest I can be with that person because I trust this. So when I see intimacy as three things. It's trust, vulnerability, and presence. And
Mm.
so that's going to create spiritual intimacy. That's going to create that intimate bliss that's going to have your cells buzzing at a high frequency for days, weeks, months on end. And that's what you want. That's health, right? That's vitality. That's good chi. So it's all inside of you. So when you start to take that time to create that space, right? Whether it's gardening or meditating or dancing or whatever it is, you start to drop into that field of like, oh, this is my essence. This is what I love to do. This brings me joy. That's who I am. All that other stuff, that's not me. Somebody pulling on me and wanting this from me, somebody wanting that from me, somebody putting their shit on me. None of that stuff is me. So there needs to be this sort of field set up as well of like, this is me versus that's not me. And I see women constantly, especially of a certain age range, just taking on everyone else's stuff, martyring away. I've got family who are queen of martyring. So
Mm.
I'm really familiar with it. And so when you start to step more into this place of essence in yourself, then then that grows, that gets bigger and stronger. And then when you turn around to meet a partner or a potential partner and you come together with that person, you're coming to that relationship with so much more wholeness inside of yourself. You come to it as a queen, you're going to magnetize a king. So that's another big thing that I work with a lot with women and with men too. It's like, well, I really want to meet my beloved, I really want to meet my partner. I'm like, okay, well, there's still these places inside of you where you're not stepping up to your sovereignty. You're not making your own choices. And there are so many layers. There's so many components. We've got psychological, spiritual, physical, hormones. That's a whole thing, and this emotional as well. And so often I see clients, and I have done this too, not for a long time, but I get it. I've been there and done that. It's you're taking the old emotional experience, like, oh, I was heartbroken, I never want to go through that again. And so you're taking that into the next thing. it doesn't get cleared. And then you take it into the next thing and you're like, oh, I kind of want to get to know you. I really like you, but I don't want to get my heart broken. So I'm going to stay part way over here and I'm going to come part way over there. And I'm just like, I'm incongruent now.
Right.
I'm not in alignment. I'm not, you feel the difference of that. It's like when you come to someone with that congruence, head, heart, gut, and yoni or lingam, all on the same page of like, this is what I want. This is what I'm clear about. That's going to magnetize that to you much quicker. And the people who are not able to meet you in that place are going to go away much quicker, which is what you want.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what you want. Amazing. And like you said, that trust piece is so integral to creating intimacy and connection within ourselves and in our relationships, whether they're sexual, friendships, family, whatever. So I'm curious, like for those who may be struggling with some trust issues, what sort of advice or wisdom could you share with them right now that might help?
Yeah, I would say, scan your body and find that place inside of yourself. Get quiet, get in a still space, and then just go head to toe. And where do you feel that, ooh, I don't trust myself or that person or the situation? It's like, ooh, I don't trust it. Where do you feel that in your body? Some of you it's going to be in your heart, some in your throat. A lot of women, it's like right here between heart and throat, some in your gut, sometimes, in random places in your body. Your head is also a fair place to feel that. So wherever you feel that, you want to go into the soma. That's one of the big things that I find so valuable in healing from traumas and not being able to trust. And, we all grew up in family situations. And so we all are healing from that.
Yeah.
And so going into the cellular body to feel and to extract those patterns is way more potent and will get you a lot further, a lot faster than reasoning it out in your head. Drop into the sensation of it. That's what I would say.
Definitely. So let's say so for some people who are in partnership, they have that love, trust, connection. They're just wanting to expand pleasure within their relationship with their partner. What can you suggest to them?
Ooh, so many fun things. Yeah, I love working with couples. It is so fun. I work with couples hands-on, and I also work with couples online. And when I am working with them, from a distance, I'm always kind of like getting a read for their energy and watching their body language, like how are they sitting, how are they touching, and really just observing like how they look into each other's eyes, and then really paying attention to their communication skills. Like, are they listening to each other? And are they then using words that the other can hear? It's a big thing. And then I'll give them sexual practices to do. I'll give them Taoist sexual practices, and I'll teach them how to give a tantra session to each other. So one person's the receiver, one person's the giver, and then vice versa. And that is a really powerful thing for a lot of couples, because a lot of couples just have been having sex, it's just like, let's have sex. And then they start getting into a pattern where we always do it the same way. It just gets boring after a while. So starting to introduce new techniques and new things, and also how to connect with each other and be even more vulnerable with your partner than you've ever been before. I've worked with couples who've been married and had kids, and they've been together for over 30 years, and they've been the whole life they've done it this way. And then all of a sudden they get vulnerable with each other in a whole new level, and deep intimacy starts to occur. And all the different lingam massage techniques and yoni massage techniques and all of that stuff isn't the important piece, but that just comes through really naturally and really easily when there is this deeper sense of trust, because vulnerability creates trust, and trust creates vulnerability. So it's this beautiful cycle that you want to be pedaling out in your relationships, especially if you've been in them for a long time and you're sort of in this like rut and groove of like, oh, we do the kids, we do the work, we do the family, and then we go to bed.
Yep.
You know, you don't ever
Repeat.
connect. Like, you don't have to have sex, but you need to connect, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And my motto that I love to say is like vulnerability leads to connection.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
and it ties into that trust piece. And ultimately, like, yeah, that's where we feel the most intimate, I imagine.
Yeah, that's that connection that you have with another human being is so special. You know, it's really so special. And when you start to have it with your spouse or with your partner you've been with for a long time, or new partner, whoever, you start to feel that you can then have that with other people in your life. More presence comes forward to the others in your life as well, and that gets really felt, and it creates even more vulnerability and trust with those relationships. And so it becomes this upward spiral in your life rather than a downward spiral of like, I was hurt, I don't trust, I'm afraid. I want it, but I can't, you know?
Yeah, and that's okay if that's where you're at. We're just saying that like there can be more, and it doesn't have to stay that way. So,
Yeah, it's a choice. It really is a choice that you're making, whether you're making it consciously or unconsciously. You
mhm,
are making that choice for yourself in your life to stay in that old familiar pattern. It's comfortable. I get it. I've spent
yeah,
lots of years there. I totally
yeah,
understand. Um, but when you start to face your fears and step across that threshold to
yeah.
the other side where just expansion, absolute expansion and evolution is available for really
Yeah,
fun.
and that's why we're here. We're here to expand pleasure. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Everything you want is on the other side of fear."
Yes, I
Mhm,
love that. It's
mhm,
true. So true. And it's also doesn't matter how sort of evolved you become or how far you get, you're still going to come up against fear, you know?
yeah.
So it's about
Mhm,
creating a relationship with that fear, a
mhm,
relationship where you can go into the sensation, like where does fear, where is it felt in my body and what does it feel like? Does it feel like a knife? Does it feel like a dull achy? Does it feel like, what does it feel like? And then, you know, is there an image that comes with it? And
mhm,
how long has it been there? You know, so a big part of my practice is talking to the body, talking to the cells
mhm,
in the body that are holding old pattern. And sometimes they're holding old pattern from previous lifetimes or previous generations. Sometimes it's not even your stuff, a lot of times once we get deep. So
exactly.
extracting all that, it frees you up to be in your essence and to be who you truly came here to be.
And that's a beautiful thing. That's what I want for everybody. Willow, before you get to share your free gift, do you have any last sort of parting words, tips, wisdom, just to leave people with around sacred sexuality, pleasure, connection, intimacy, all that?
Yeah. I would just say, you know, this is a path that takes courage,
Mhm,
and um you know, so be gentle with yourself on your path, on your journey, and really you know, give yourself a pat on the back when you do step up to face your fears, because it's not a small thing. It's a big thing, and it takes a sort of a warrior spirit to be on this journey of using your sexuality as a source
mhm,
for more vitality, more life, more energy, more health,
mhm,
more abundance. And it does get, your muscles are going to grow for it. You know, you're going to
mhm.
get better at it. You're going to get stronger at it over time. So just be real gentle with yourself, and really give yourself encouragement and pat on the back for any wins, any and all wins. If you have a vulnerable moment with a partner,
Mhm.
or you drop into a deeper state of trust with yourself and the universe during one of your own practices, or
Mhm.
any of that, just really recognize how huge that is, and how most people on the planet don't even have the it's not even on their radar, right? It's not even a thought. And for some, that's because they're in survival state, and for others it's just because it's not even a thought.
Yeah.
um, but you are here, right? So you are tuning into it, you are looking into this is magic, this magical side of life. You are really
Mhm.
looking into something that is deeply profound and deeply transformational. And so no matter where you're at on the journey, you're here now. So give yourself a pat on the back right now.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much for just ending us there. And I would love for you to share what your free gift is with the audience.
All right. So, for all of you who are tuning into this amazing summit that Sydney is putting together, those of you who want to pick up the free gift of mine, it is the Sacred Vijayjay video series, and it's super fun. I love this, especially if if you're a vulva owner, you're really gonna love this, because it's you're gonna learn more about your pussy than you ever thought you could possibly know. And that's a valuable thing. If you're a man tuning in, you probably want to know this stuff too, right?
Mhm. Yes.
So definitely pick up that gift, and just enjoy that series. Enjoy learning about your body. There's even more than pussy wisdom. You're going to learn about your liver and your spleen and all kinds of things that are related to your sexuality that you just didn't even know were part of your sexuality. And
Cool.
yeah, it's a really great little series. So have fun with it. And yeah, feel free to shoot me any questions, send me an email, connect@drwillowbrown.com, Dr. Willowbrown.
Amazing.
Yeah, I look forward to connecting with anyone who is wanting to.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that generous gift. I know I'm excited to see it and like go through that. I'm excited for all the wisdom that comes through that. So thank you.
You're so welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Sydney.
You're very welcome. And thank you for being here to start us off. It's been an incredible chat. It just makes me so excited for the rest of the interviews coming your way this week. So I'm grateful for you, Willow, being here. And thank you for all you do and who you are in the world.
Thank you, love.
And thank you so much to the audience. The show would not be what it is without you. So I'm so grateful you're here, connecting with all this wisdom and free gifts and practical tools to help you unleash your pleasure in your life. I'm really excited for what comes and opens up for you through seeing this show. So thanks for being here, and see you for the next interview.
Bye, everyone. Mwah.